On the next episode of the Uri Man Show, we will sit down with Florian Martin, a top journalist in the Texas market, talking about where land is becoming more valuable, specifically outside of the Beltway. You're not going to want to miss this opportunity to learn more about where you should be buying land in the Houston market and what makes a great real estate development story. Tune in to the Uri Man Show, which is now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Florian Martin, thanks for joining us here on the show. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Florian, you are one of the top journalists in Texas, working for the Houston Business Journal, and we're pleased to have you. So I'm really excited to learn more about the types of investigative reporting you've done in the past and what made you passionate about getting involved in journalism.
Yeah, well, I was always interested in telling people's stories and investigating things. When I was young, I was looking. I wanted to be a private investigator, and I was always good at writing, and so I guess that kind of made sense to me. I don't do too much investigative journalism now. I did win an award, a Murrow Award, for one investigative story I did for my previous employer, Houston Public Media.
That's called the Edward Murrow Award?
Edward R Murrow Award, yeah.
And what did you get that award for?
I did a story on the police shooting of Pamela Turner in Baytown. It was a lady who was shot by a police officer after grabbing her taser. And, well, I found out that the taser that she had grabbed couldn't be used again when she had it. So, you know, technically there was no danger to the officer, and he shot her anyway. And, you know, I filed open record requests to find out what kind of taser it was. And I knew a little bit about tasers because I'd done previous stories on those devices. And so I knew the model couldn't shoot a second set of darts. You know, it shoots out these wired darts to incapacitate.
So the victim had the taser.
Someone.
The victim had the taser?
She had grabbed the taser from the officer, but he had already used it on her, so she couldn't have used it again.
And he knew that because...
He should have known that, yeah. And he was, like, you know, several feet away from her. The lawyer told me that she could have still stunned him. If you press the taser against someone, it will still work, you know,
right.
But it couldn't shoot out the darts from a distance.
So in theory, the officer should have known that?
Yeah, he should have known that. But he was charged by the district attorney, Harris County District Attorney, but he was acquitted. So, but I mean, I don't know if the DA used that information that I brought to light, you know, to make the case. But he was charged a few months later after that story came out. I think that weighed into the decision for the award. So
your investigating is basically you uncovered all this information and I guess a body reviews different types of articles, and they decided that the level of detail that you went to and the thoroughness, your article won you that award.
Right.
Okay, yeah. And so now you write all kinds of great articles for people who are interested in real estate development, things that are happening. And that's how we met. I know you came to write a story about one of our projects, the Lago Mar Lagoon. How do you find typically the stories that you write about? What kind of sources do you get?
I mean, a lot of it is press releases from developers, from brokerage companies, and so on. But the best stories are through relationships. Really, it's so much about relationships. You know, you write one story, you get to talk to someone, they might tell you about another project to keep an eye out for that they are working on but can't talk about yet, or they know about someone else who's working on something else. One of my first stories at the Houston Business Journal was the Great Wolf Lodge that's coming to Webster.
Sure, that's under construction now, yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to open later this year. So this was in late 2021, and I'd gotten a tip from a city official from a different city about this, and so I was able to reach out to, or find more information. Really, it was online,
right?
Because it was public. just no one had looked into it yet, and so I found it and I wrote it, and no one was really wanted to talk about it yet. Great Wolf Lodge sent me one statement basically confirming it. The city of Webster didn't want to talk about it, but it was enough for a story, and so I broke that story, and that got me a lot of views and interest.
Yeah, I noticed that your articles are, they're in the newsletters from the Houston Business Journal. Really, everybody reads them, and there's a lot of comments about them. So,
people care so much about real estate, which is really, that helps me in my work, because, whatever I write about, and I cover real estate development and any real estate really outside of the Beltway, outside of Beltway 8. We have another reporter, Jeff Jeffrey, who covers inside the Beltway. And my position was actually created, for me basically. I was applying for the new position back in 21 that they created, which was development outside the Beltway, just because it's exploding out there. This Houston's just growing so much, especially in the Northwest, West Katy area, but really all around. Even the east side is coming of Houston now, and so I think people are especially interested about the growth out there.
What areas of Houston do you think are growing the most? Like what areas outside the Beltway?
Well, the Northwest Cypress area, towards Waller County, Katy, Brookshire, Fulshire, all those areas. The Katy Prairie is being developed very rapidly right now. There's just so much space. There's so much open, undeveloped land, and you have the Grand Parkway, which made a big difference for new development.
Right. So you really have your pulse on the path of growth, like where development is going. Do you have any advice if somebody were to buy some land today and wanted to sit on it for a few years or a decade? Where would you recommend them buying land, considering you really understand where the development's going?
Yeah. Right now there's still so much land just outside of the Grand Parkway, in the west and northwest and the north and even the east. I don't know. I might, because I want to look into future growth on the east side of Houston. There's not too much development yet, but developers are looking at that
because of the Grand Parkway extension.
Because the Grand Parkway, that's the newest part, I think, of the Grand Parkway. So that's why there's not too much going on. Plus, it's not close to the big white-collar employment centers.
It's close to the petrochemicals.
Right, the Port of Houston. So
railroad and, yeah.
Right, but, people still need to live over there. And so, I don't know. I might say get some land there.
On the east side.
On the east side, yeah.
Right.
But really all around and on the west side, I did a story on the growth of West Houston and how the far west used to be, the energy corridor used to be far out.
Yeah, that used to be considered the far west.
Yeah, now it's kind of like in the middle of things, and now the far west is, Brookshire and even further, past the Brazos River. That might be considered the Houston area.
Yeah.
In 10 years from now. So it's really, that growth is unstoppable. So you might even, if you have time and money, look all the way out there past the Brazos River. Right.
Well, you really found a great niche because, Houston is considered one of the top cities in America for real estate development growth. I mean, probably one of the top cities in the world. I mean, we have the largest Beltway road, I think, in the United States in Houston. And it's got to be pretty fascinating meeting all of this, seeing all this progress happening. So
yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm always told by the developers. They love Houston. Right. They love Texas. They love the South in general, but Houston especially.
It's pro-business.
It's very pro-business. There's so much space to still build. It's affordable.
Right. Affordability is a huge thing because people want to buy a home. They look for an affordable city where they can have a reasonable living and they can buy a home at a reasonable price in Houston compared to, let's say, Austin or Dallas, much more expensive markets.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's a very international city. It's super diverse.
Yeah, it's pretty international. And so, where you're originally from what country?
I'm from Germany.
Oh, okay. You grew up in Germany?
I grew up in Germany. I first came to the U.S. at age 20 for an exchange year, and then I came back again in 2006 when I was 25 to the University of Houston as an exchange student. There I met my now ex-wife, and thanks to her, I was able to move here a few years later. I have a green card. I am working on my citizenship application right now. So
okay, congratulations.
Hopefully I'll be a citizen later this year.
This year? Oh, that's great.
That's the hope.
Well, ich habe Deutsch gestudiert in Wien, 3 Monate. I studied Germany. I studied German in Austria. I lived in Vienna, so
yeah,
so
that's great. Even though they don't really speak German in
right,
Austria.
they speak a Vienna version of German. It's
Yeah.
a different type of German.
Oh yeah, the Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Exactly. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah. So I'll be back anyway. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. I wanted to also ask you, in terms of the recent story that you put on the Houston Business Journal about the Sports Illustrated resort. It just came out, so it's very timely. Why did you decide to cover that? Why did you think it was important for the readers to know about the Sports Illustrated resort coming to the Texas market?
Yeah, I mean it's huge, right? It's a huge project. It's a first of its kind in the United States. It's a huge brand, the Sports Illustrated brand. So I knew that was going to attract a lot of interest from readers, and I'm hearing so much already from readers about it. And I saw the numbers yesterday, and we already have thousands of views. Of course, also Sports Illustrated has been in the news lately with the layoffs and with the magazine and all that. So I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I know there's a lot of questions because I'm getting them from readers about that. So
it's been relevant in national news because of the fact that they are switching publishers. So what I understood is the magazine is going to continue on, but because they're switching publishers, the publisher that lost the work laid off some employees, so those employees complained to the media, and it made it seem like Sports Illustrated was going away or going bankrupt or something like that, when in fact that's really not the case. They're just switching publishers, and the previous publisher, I think they're called Arena, they lost the license to publish the magazine. Someone else is getting it. So
yeah.
So but that makes your story even more relevant because people are looking for Sports Illustrated stories, and now there's a new hotel with the Sports Illustrated name.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's coming to a growth area that I actually just wrote a cover story about that's coming out just this week about the Bay Area of Houston. And there is so much development. I mean, we talked about growth in the Houston area. That is an area that has been pretty built out for a while, since NASA came with the Johnson Space Center. There has been a lot of residential development, commercial development, but it's really picking up right now. It has a big momentum going for it. Again, with the Great Wolf Lodges coming there, big shopping center with an H-E-B recently in the Clear Lake area. A lot of the tracts that have been sitting vacant for a long time and are now being filled in by developers. Further down even, you have the former Greyhound racetrack, which a developer is turning into, or said he wants to turn into a concert venue. So there's a lot happening. So that fits right into that whole trend that I've been following since I first started with the Business Journal.
Yeah, we've noticed that for our projects, for example, the lagoons have been a powerful way to attract media to write articles because they're unique, interesting, crystal clear water, blue, people are coming to the beaches. And what, other than the lagoon, how do you compare the lagoon to kind of other types of real estate? Is there anything else that you feel like that can really generate the kind of interest from readers? Like, what do you think is, what are the topics that you look for?
I mean, the lagoon is a big one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a resort style pool that every community has nowadays. It gives you this whole beach experience that is very unusual and new and exciting. So there's huge interest. Every time we write about any lagoon coming anywhere, there's lots of interest from readers. And, people are moving to those communities.
Yeah. Lago Mar sells about 500 homes a year, and this year we think it's going to be a record year. More than 700 homes will be sold. So, so the lagoon definitely has what we call the lagoon effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
Both on home sales and also with the media. So it's great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we love it. And then of course the other interesting part of that is that if you have a public section as well, and then people the
general public can enjoy the lagoon,
can pay and go to those and enjoy their own little beach for a day.
Yeah. Florian, one of the things that I read about is that you're developing a new website that is specific to investigative journalism or helping people who have suffered from injustices. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's just a little project that I'm working on. I'm not very far yet, but I am looking for stories. I'm looking for people to tell me about their experiences with any injustice that they're suffering, that they're dealing with. If that's injustice from the government, from powerful people, from institutions, anything. And I want to tell those stories. I think there is a little bit of a gap in coverage. I mean, having been in this business so long, I know you can't look at every single complaint from every single person that feels like they've been treated unjustly. But this website that I'm working on is I really want to dedicate it to those people who wouldn't maybe get heard their story wouldn't be picked up in other news outlets because they have so much that they're covering. And this is no pressure on me. Like I just want to work on it when I have time. No deadlines.
So if somebody has suffered injustice and they want to reach out to you as an investigative journalist to cover a story, how would they reach you?
They can email me at florian.martin23@gmail.com.
florian.martin23@gmail.com. So that's where our listeners, our viewers, if they want to report an injustice or work with you on a potential story, they can reach you that way.
And I will listen whatever the story is.
Okay, great. Florian Martin, a fantastic journalist with the Houston Business Journal, reading all of your real estate development stories. Thank you for being on the Uri Man Show. It's been a real pleasure. And we look forward to learning more about your new website that helps people fight injustice. Thanks for being on the show today.
Great. Thank you so much.
Big news! Lagoon Fest Texas is coming to Houston again this summer. Lagoon Fest Texas is the largest summer beach event in the Houston area and will bring hundreds of thousands of happy families to Lago Mar. Experience the white sand beaches and crystal clear water that surround the 12-acre Crystal Lagoon. Last year's Lagoon Fest Texas was a huge success that drew over 150,000 visitors from all over the U.S. And this year's summer event will be even bigger and better with bigger beaches, more bars, more concerts, and more fun. All eyes will be on Lagoon Fest Texas this summer, and sponsorships are available now. You have a special opportunity to put your company's name and logo in front of hundreds of thousands of happy beachgoers. Naming rights, strategic logo placement in and around the venue, along with exclusive marketing access to a captive audience, will be included in your sponsorship. This is a great opportunity to be a part of Houston's largest summer event. Please visit lagoonfesttexas.com to learn more about this incredible event.